Welcome back, Joseph Kendo here. Let me introduce you to the Matilda, Leon's very first personal sidearm, going all the way back to his days as a rookie cop for the Raccoon City Police Department. A weapon that has found its way scattered throughout the series, seemingly following Leon through his travels and even beyond. The VP-70 is a peculiar handgun. It was designed in the 1970s by H&K and dubbed the Volkspistole 70. Volkspistole meaning people's pistol in German, and 70 being the first year of production for the handgun. It's a handgun with a few notable traits, one being that the VP-70 was a relatively high-capacity 9mm for the time, with magazines topping off at 18 rounds. Most importantly, it was one of the first production polymer-framed handguns ever produced. With Resident Evil 2 introducing us to Leon S. Kennedy, we also get our hands on his personal sidearm, presented as the VP-70. Quite an interesting choice of weaponry from the developers at Capcom. In Resident Evil 2, the R.P.D. was known for servicing the Browning high power to their officers, as their standard issue 9mm. However, Leon chose to stick with his personal VP-70 to accompany him on his path to protect and serve the citizens of Raccoon City. Upon examination of his sidearm in the inventory, we can read H&K VP-70, manufactured by H&K Germany. It uses 9mm parabellum rounds. Besides the finger-grooved polymer frame, which was seen on the original 1970 production models, nothing comes across as being custom. But what really sets this apart as a special handgun is the detachable stock that Leon finds in the R.P.D. This stock is based in reality as an official H&K holster stock for the military version of the VP-70, known as the VP-70M. The stock adds a burst auto feature to the VP-70 by utilizing the extra space for its burst auto mechanism. The stock attaches at 2 points on the back of the gun, giving it more support and even doubling as a holster for when the pistol isn't being used. Most notably, the stock makes it capable of firing a 3-round burst. The burst auto shoots at a rate of 2,000 rounds per minute. If you can't imagine what that sounds like, we'll let you hear that for yourself. If we examine this newly upgraded version of the VP-70, it reads H&K VP-70 Burst, VP-70 with a stock holster, capable of firing 3-round auto bursts. Initially, the VP-70 starts off as a tool for survival, barely knocking zombies off before they reach you, whereas the VP-70 Burst becomes a true power player against the more advanced BOWs. Because of the burst auto feature, it does deal more damage at the expense of using up ammo rather quickly and excessively. But towards the end of the game, this doesn't become an issue since you may find yourself with a surplus of Tony's 9mm. 6 years have passed since that horrendous incident. As we meet up to the events of Resident Evil 4, Leon S. Kennedy is back out on the field on a completely new mission no longer associated with the R.P.D. He doesn't bring his VP-70 along with him, but we do see the return of the burst auto beauty as an in-game unlockable, as best said by the merchant.
An awesome choice, stranger. It's got a 3-round rapid-fire capability, although it uses up ammo rather quickly.
Formerly introduced to us as Matilda, and paired with Leon's classic R.P.D. attire. Speaking of the new name, along with the other mysterious names of the RE4 handguns such as the Blacktail and Punisher, the Matilda's name can possibly be explained as a reference to the movie Leon the Professional, as the name of one of our main protagonists, Matilda, a young girl who works her way to become quite the professional. In RE4, the weapon is featured as the fastest shooting handgun in the game. With a rate of fire at 1,300, it's not quite at the level of the HK VP-70's 2,000 rounds per minute, and with an exclusive upgrade, works its way up to holding an excessive 100 rounds in the magazine, becoming a strong contender against the game's submachine gun, the TMP. 7 years later, Leon finds himself working with the new government branch of the DSO in Resident Evil 6. As he is awaiting a project for a new custom handgun, he returns to the scene with a familiar face. Only at first glance, what we get is not the VP-70, but instead the wing shooter. This weapon is completely a work of fiction and is not modeled directly from any real-life firearm. From the notes of the creator, Akimoto, it's designed to resemble Leon's Matilda, following a similar silhouette to the VP-70. It was given the name wing shooter because of its lightweight structure, with the intention of being easy to use in one hand. Looking at the concept art, we can catch a glimpse of the name engraved on the slide. However, this isn't easy to catch in-game. Nothing really feels special about this pistol, besides the fact that they give it a twin to be used in pairs, to show off Leon's newly found ability to use two handguns at once. Aside from the main games, Capcom continues to pay respects to the Matilda by featuring it in a few of the spin-off titles. Starting off with Umbrella Chronicles, in the 4th Survivor chapter we're reintroduced to the Matilda as Hunk's sidearm, but we don't get to see the gun in-game, only in cutscenes and as an icon, as this is a first-person arcade rail shooter retelling the events of previous Resident Evil titles. And in a very similar fashion, in Dark Side Chronicles, Leon uses the VP-70 as his primary weapon in the Lost City and Operation Javier episodes. Although this time around, we only get a quick glimpse of the VP-70 during the reload animation. For Umbrella Corps, we get the Matilda as a pre-order bonus, with both the single and burst auto stock versions. And oh yeah, unfortunately it was featured once more in Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Now, here we are, the present day. In the 2019 Resident Evil 2 Remake, we are reintroduced to the VP-70 once again. With this being a remake of the original Resident Evil 2, we were sure to anticipate the return of the VP-70, respectively branded as Matilda, a nice callback to the lore established by Resident Evil 4. The Matilda we see in this game is based on the later production of the VP-70s, unlike the original model used in the classic 1998 Resident Evil 2. The main deviation being the slight serrations and the lower frame's smooth polymer grip, unlike the early versions that had finger and thumb grooves. The only real inaccuracy we see with the RE2 Remake model is the notation of the gun's fictional name, featuring the engraved Matilda on the gun's slide and lower frame. But we greatly welcome this as it only further solidifies the VP-70 as the Matilda in Resident Evil's universe. Upon examination of the Matilda in the Resident Evil 2 Remake, the description reads, 12-shot capacity 9mm polymer frame handgun, non-standard issue gun with problems that make it impractical for the general public. The problems they could be referring to with the VP-70 is most likely the trigger pull, which most people who've shot the gun in real life compare to that of a staple gun. But the standard version aside, I want to discuss some of the customizations available for the Matilda in the RE2 Remake. With the base gun featuring a red high-visibility front sight, accompanied by a white border rear. We also collect more attachments throughout Raccoon City, such as an extended magazine, which was seemingly going to be a gift from Leon's fellow officers. It gives Leon an upgraded capacity from 12 to 24 rounds. There's also a muzzle brake helping to control the recoil a bit more, which is found in a safe located in the second floor waiting room. And most importantly, the burst auto stock returns, which we find in the trunk of a police cruiser in the R.P.D's parking garage. If we're being honest, the performance of the burst auto stock is underwhelming. The rate of the 3-round burst is far slower than the real version, and often causes the following 2 shots to miss the target and waste ammo. However, with the stock attached, you're still given the option of semi-auto if you don't hold the trigger down. And with the muzzle brake and a little practice, you can control the recoil and land all 3 shots to get yourself out of some tight situations. From 1998 to 2019, the Matilda has seen various shapes and interpretations. Although we know this weapon doesn't hold itself as an original concept of Resident Evil, it's held as one of the most memorable weapons of the franchise and has become the most iconic handgun of Leon S. Kennedy. In every single Resident Evil game featuring Leon, some form of the Matilda has followed. Like the experience of Leon's first and only day as a cop, it will forever be a part of who he has become. Now, We know the Matilda surely isn't much of a custom piece, but in this video, we wanted to spotlight this post by Cyclone Zawa, a Japan-based collector and airsoft enthusiast who did put together his own modded Airsoft VP70, featuring the burst auto stock, extended mag, and muzzle brake, looking very accurate next to the one from Resident Evil 2 Remake. So, that's it for Leon S. Kennedy's very own VP70, or should we say, the Matilda. The peculiar handgun that Leon brought with him on that fateful day in September of 1998. Be sure to check out the KendoGunShop Instagram page at kendo.gunshop, link in the description. If you'd like to help the KendoGunShop expand its business past Raccoon City, feel free to share the video with your friends and help spread the word, or leave a comment on what guns from Resident Evil you'd like to see a video on next. And make sure to come back and visit us at the gun shop for more content about the firearms of Resident Evil.